All right, let's get started. Thank you all for being here today and for spending your time, your valuable time here with me. And I hope I will make this time well spent by giving you some actual examples of how you can build a recruitment engine that reacts to the market and not only to your memory. So, where I will be going through today is the following. But first, let's get started with one thing, because what I often see in the market is there are two agencies. You have At one side you have the hustlers, and on the other side you have the system builders. And especially in this day and age with AI and automation, I see more and more the difference between these two companies, where the hustlers are mainly grinding more and wanting to add more people to the actual agency in order to keep growing and keep scaling. Well, on the other side, the system builders are with less recruiters, but they act on live signals within the market. They automate sequences. And because of all of that, because of all the systems, they get more candidates and clients coming back to them. So today I want to show a little bit more of how you can become an agency B type, where you build in these systems more. And even though both agencies would be operating in the same market, the one agency would have much more revenue than the other one, while the hustlers agency would be mainly having a lot of admin every week as well. So what I will show you today is why hiring more recruiters won't fix your growth, and how I see the top agencies are getting ahead of the market, and why your team is actually loving this instead of resenting it. Because that is something that I hear a lot as well, is saying like, hey, my team won't use these tools or won't use these systems, and that's where a lot of the implementation is stalling. So we'll cover all of that today. And before we start, is something that I found really important that I directly want to tackle is AI is not replacing your recruiters. Because I hear this a lot when I speak to recruitment agencies, where they think that AI will come along and then a lot of the stuff won't be needed anymore. I speak to the recruiters within these companies, and they're all afraid of the AI. But I think that the AI will be very important, but the human part will only become more and more important, because the AI might handle the sourcing, the data entry, follow-ups, scheduling, and reporting, like all the boring stuff that your recruiters and you don't want to do, but that need to be built. And that is where the human part will definitely come in. And by using AI, you'll be able to get more of these conversations going by implementing the right systems. So, but first off, who am I? I started off in recruitment, in tech recruitment, and so I've been on both sides. I've been on the side of actually recruiting and finding all these candidates myself. And then I started to get really interested into the AI and AI system stuff, and dive very deep into it and build different workflows, first for other companies. And then I thought like, hey, we need to apply this on the recruitment industry. And now there are many really good systems that I discovered, that found out that, hey, we need to apply this into one system that will actually get used within recruitment. And before I'll show you a bit of this system, I think it's important to understand how I discovered it. Because I started also inside recruitment, every Tuesday and every Thursday, I know that we would have to do the business development, where we would be doing the cold calling. And on Monday evening, or I would be already dreading it to go in the next day and see if I would be able to schedule maybe a meeting, or schedule anything else, so I don't have to do the business development side, where I would have to do all this cold calling to all the people that probably didn't want to speak to me anyway. Even though I also thought, like, all the other recruitment agencies are currently doing exactly the same, because probably every recruitment agency will be calling around in the morning to see if these hiring managers would be wanting to work together with you, if you see if you can actually help them out by finding candidates for them, even though they might not have any open jobs, or even letting people go because the timing is not correct. So then I discovered, like, hey, what how can you be different, like, as an agency? How can you act on different signals? How can you be not the 10th agency that is calling the exact hiring manager? I found out that it's all about, like, working smarter instead of, like, harder in that sense. And yeah, it sounds strange, but that is how I came up with the system, where, yeah, where you can really be in an active role instead of, like, more a reactive role. And yeah, let's dive straight into it. Enough about me. But I have found out that the tools were never the problem as well. Like, a lot of the agencies work a lot, like yourself, will probably work with different tools, but not every agency has a system. And even though we would work in recruitment with different tools as well, where we would use, for example, Lucia to get a prospect's phone number, even though this data would half of the times would be outdated. So you would try to ring somebody, and then this phone number would not work because the data is outdated, and this person might have already moved on for 3 other companies. So you're getting off, like, old phone numbers and old data that is sitting in your CRM that is already outdated. So every agency has tools, but not every agency has a system in order to get new clients and in order to engage with candidates in the best possible way. And that is what I will cover in the following. But first, does this sound like you? So you're running an agency, and there are, like, 5 to 40 people inside the agencies. And a lot of the growth within the agency is depending on getting more recruiters in. You've also tried a lot of different tools, but you find out that your recruiters start using these tools, and then after a while, they're like, I don't know if I'd be able to use this. There's already so many tools that we are using. What? Yeah, and they did just stop using it after a little while. And the only way that you're most of the time thinking is like, hey, I need to grow, is when you actually want to grow, that you think like, hey, I need to hire more people. Well, this is not always the case. And there are multiple ways to scale your efforts to grow your agency without actually hiring, and especially in this day and age with all the AI and automation. So I hope I'll be able to showcase some of this to you. right here in the coming slides and in a bit of the presentation on my screen. But first, what if the reason your agency isn't scaling has nothing to do with effort, talent, or with tools? That is where we're going to talk about. Because what if it's connected, for example, to mindset? What if it is that you always think like, hey, we have to work harder and we have to wake up earlier and come to the office and do more calls and be able to get more people on the phone in order to grow the actual agency. And in this day and age, it's not about working harder anymore. It's about actually working smarter. So in that way, I think it's really important to see that the old system is outdated, and that and that all your recruiters, they can work harder, obviously, but they're relying on their memory instead of on their systems. And yeah, and this is obviously not super scalable in that sense. So in that way, you might not have you don't have a sales problem, you don't have a candidate problem, but you might have an operating system problem, where the operating system is basically your recruiters, and that is might be something that you want to look into. And I feel the more as I speak to agencies and implement some of the architecture that I will show you next, is that the agencies that they're currently winning are actually acting upon market signals. Uh, so there's something happening in the market, and directly after, the agency is jumping on that signal. Because then instead of calling this person, this hiring manager, and say like, hey, do you have an open job? You actually get a trigger and see like, hey, they're hiring there right now, or this is happening live right here, or that company did fundraising, or this company came into the news. And normally you would have to find all that information on Google, or you would have to manually scroll past your LinkedIn timeline in order to find out all these updates. But not anymore these days. You can find out all this information in real time and then route it to your actual recruiters that will be able to run the full system. So I see that in recruitment agencies, there is 4 parts that becoming more and more important moving forward. So the first of is where I've just touched upon very quickly. It's the client acquisition, where you basically jump on the different signals for your business development. So for example, if you see a company hiring, if key talent is leaving a particular company, if there is fundraising or any other signals, you automatically get notified and you'll be able to do your business development in that way. And then with your candidate engagement, there are ways, and obviously this is a little bit controversial, but there are ways that you can AI match and score the candidates. And obviously it's good to have a gut check with scoring candidates, but there are ways if you would want to automate this as well, and I will be showing this very soon as well. And then reaching out to these candidates in a multi-channel way automatically as well. Because back in the days when I was recruiting, I would mainly call candidates and then manually send them a text or send them a follow-up email and then hope that they would reply. There wasn't like a real system that would retarget them again after a few days, see if they still want to engage. And if we are having more touch points with the actual candidates and with the potential clients in multi-level ways, so on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, on the email, and other channels, then there's multiple ways that we can get in touch with our actual ICP that we want to target, or with the candidate that we want to target. A third important factor is the content and thought leadership, where with AI you can set up really well-structured projects, or, for example, custom GPTs that are speaking inside, like in your brand voice, and where you can build your authority on LinkedIn. And last but not least, and I will go into all of these slightly a bit later in this presentation as well, is the CRM and ATS enrichment, because most of the CRMs are very outdated. They have, I mean, there are quite a few CRMs that are busy with new kind of AI stuff, but I have seen that it's not super groundbreaking for many of them. Plus, the data is very outdated. So the people that you've added to your CRM 5 years ago, they might not be having the same number anymore, or they might not be in the same position anymore. So you kind of don't really want to reach out to them in that way. But I'll be showing a bit more about that in a second. So then going into the second mind shift is I need to be technical. When I show all of these systems to different recruitment agencies, the question I often get is often like, hey, I need to be more technical. Like, our recruiters are not able to run this system because it's way too technical. And I'll show you that that is not necessary at all, because you can implement this together with your recruiters, and then they'll be able to run the whole system, and they'll actually be very happy that they are able to scale the efforts, because it will help them to get more placements and more clients. So in that way, I quickly want to show you something in the next slide. And what I'll be showing is, I'll be showing my screen, but what I'll be showing is like the signal-based prospecting. So, because I feel like this is a very important part, and I've implemented this for a couple of agencies, and it's working really well. Because obviously for your business development, you want to work with other companies, and you want to be relevant in your communication. So you want to reach out exactly at the right time, at the right moment. And whether they have company news or fundraising, or if people are leaving this company, then that is the right moment to actually reach out and to see if you can work together with this company. All right, I will now share a bit of my screen where I'll be going into Clay. And I wonder if any of you have heard of Clay before. Let's have a look. This one. All right. So this is clay.com. And obviously, as you can see here, Clay is working already with lots of very big organizations. It's basically a go-to-market sales platform where you can automate a lot of stuff. It goes from very, very simple things to quite hard in-depth kind of stuff. But I'm hoping to quickly give you a couple of examples to get you excited without like overwhelming you, because I've had it a lot in the past that when I show very advanced tables from Clay, that people and agencies get very confused because they're like, "Whoa, what's happening all of here?" And then they don't know what is actually going on. But to start, see Clay as it is actually like kind of like a Google Sheet, like an Excel, but then on steroids. So what you will see soon is basically a table, and you can combine in this table a lot of AI and automation together with over 100 data sources. So you can set up very, very powerful sequences and use different data sources and sequences as well in order to get your desired goals. I just basically quickly want to show you something from their website, because I think that will get the most information into it, where one of the main things that I'm currently set up for recruitment agencies is the signals, where, for example, you load in like a table of 200 or 300 potential clients that you want to work together with. And then every time that something happens within this, within any of these companies, if somebody has a job change, if they have changed something on the website, if they have mentions on LinkedIn or any other data, or they have fundraising or other news, then automatically your account will be flagged, and then the data will be enriched with the different sources. Like as you can see here, there's 130 providers. This will be sent to your CRM to update this signal. And what you will get inside your Slack, or you can also set it up with Teams, for example, is saying like, hey, you're tracking Google. Google is currently hiring more developers. Do you want to reach out? So basically you get inside your Slack a message saying like, hey, do you want to reach out to the hiring manager? Once you press yes, I want to reach out, then automatically there will be a message sequence that will be going out to this hiring manager at Google. That is all populated inside Clay, because Clay then gets the data from the person, will enrich the data, will find the person's LinkedIn profile, get all the data from there, and then make a personalized email plus a connection request with a follow-up messages on LinkedIn. So you automatically jump on signals that are live happening in the market, which works really well for lots of recruitment agencies at the moment. So that is something in terms of signals that where you can jump on. And one of the main things I want to show you here as well is, let's see, resources, templates, is they already have a lot of templates as well. And some are like quite easy to implement. So you can definitely like try this and do some of it for yourself. But most of the time, what you actually need is a very in-depth and a bit more of custom work in order to really make it your own. So you can see like this will track job changes for champions at existing companies. Here, Google Maps listings, qualify, enrich LinkedIn event attendees. There's many different signals and different outreach ways based on actual things that are happening within the market. For example, here, there's a job change, and then it will reach out. But let's do, for example, something maybe a bit easier. To get you a little bit of an idea, I will run this table. And basically what this table does is, and it doesn't look like anything special at the moment, but what this table does is you put in any LinkedIn URL over here, and then it will go through all these data providers to find a personalized email. So this one is set to a personalized email. You can also obviously find the work email. But I remember, like, from my time in recruitment, that we would only have like one data provider, and most of the times, like, the email was incorrect. So if we would get that email or get that phone number and then try it, and then it would be incorrect, we won't be able to reach that candidate or reach that client because we had indirect data. The good thing about Clay is you only pay for whichever provider will find this email address. So for example, if I have Liam's LinkedIn here, and I'll put that one in here, then it will automatically start and look for his personal email. So in the first data provider, it cannot find it. The second one gave an error. I don't know why. The third one and the fourth one were also not able to find his email. But then with this data provider, it found his email address. And then, as you can see here, this is his personal email address. If we want to find his work email address, then we can also run this full setup for his work email, where we can select over here all the data providers that we want to run first, for example, in order to find his work email address. And this same thing is for phone numbers. So we can also run this for phone numbers, where you won't need any of the other tools anymore in order to run different tools to find out the right phone number or the right email address from this actual person. Well, this is a very simple way how you can do that. We call this an email waterfall. That is Clay 101 basics. And what you can do then afterwards, so for example, now we have his email address. For example, if we want to write a personalized message over here, we'll go here and we can use, for example, a Clayagent, and a Clayagent agent will be able, you give it a prompt here, which you basically say, like, hey, go to this person's LinkedIn and find out all the information about this person. Then this will scrape all these all the data from Liam's profile, and basically afterwards you are able to write a message to Liam where you give it another prompt saying, like, hey, based on all the data that you found from this person, write a personalized message to Liam in order to see if he wants to work together. What we can also do, for example, is other enrichments, where we say, like, hey, we want to know from Liam where, for example, where what kind of things he's working with. So we want to find his technology stack, where we can see, like, hey, what is he actually using? Is he in his work, for example? And this works really well when you, for example, as a IT recruitment company, wants to work together with developers that, or with companies that have worked with a certain time of technologies, for example. So you can reach out to these clients and say like, hey, I saw you working with this and this technology. I would love to speak about that because I know that in this field there are many good engineers needed, software engineers needed, and we know that we can provide them. So there is like many multiple ways in order to to dive into this, especially on the business development side. And I've now only showed the tip of the iceberg, actually, because if I show more in depth, then I tend to lose people. But what is really great is these signals as well, where we basically load in inside the sheet here a list of 500 potential clients, then set up these signals, basically saying if anything happens in regards to fundraising, job changes, key hires, major news, we write a prompt, and then automatically, if something happens, you'll get a notification say like, hey, do you want to reach out to this person? You click yes, and then automatically you start reaching out on LinkedIn, email, and even on WhatsApp, because you can link Clay with the other softwares like, for example, like Instantly, where automatically it will be going to Instantly, where you have set up your email boxes, for example. This is for a client that is set up. They're currently getting warm, these accounts. And then automatically it will run from here, say like, hey, write a personalized message to Liam based on all the information, and it will automatically get added into this email campaign. Plus, you can automatically directly add it as well into a LinkedIn campaign, where in this way, you'll be able to target your candidates and your clients like automatically based on the signals that are happening here in the market. But obviously, what you can also keep doing, and that is helpful as well, is so this is very much on the sales side. Now I kind of like want to show you something quickly on the candidate side, and I know it's a bit controversial, but I kind of like still want to show this to you. Inside Clay, they have a database as well, where you can directly find people inside their database. Although I'm not entirely sure how good this database is, but I find that the databases from LinkedIn are still better, but you are able to find directly companies and people and jobs and local businesses inside Clay because they work with so many data providers. But in case you're hiring, and obviously you're all in recruitment, so you are hiring all the time, you can also keep using, for example, Sales Navigator. And in Sales Navigator or in LinkedIn Recruiter, you obviously do your search, so you're finding different candidates. So you give your different filters. And then once you're happy and you say like, hey, I see there's 293 results here, and I want to find out from these people which one would be the best for my particular job. So normally you would go hours and hours to go through all these profiles and see whichever candidate would be the best of these. And I'm not saying like don't do that anymore, but if you want to have a faster way where the AI is helping you, you can do that, for example, with Clay or with N8N, where you say like, okay, from these 293 results that I have here, I am happy with. You use a tool on the side where you basically start scraping all these profiles of the of LinkedIn. Then you'll receive a CSV file, very simple. And then what you can do is you paste them back into Clay, for example. So then you've got all the candidates back from the Sales Navigator, and you can just get them back here inside your Clay. What you can do then is say like, hey, all the green ones are the candidate details, and this red one here is, for example, the job description, where we're hiring for a full stack developer in Amsterdam. Then we use an AI prompt where we say like, hey, check this person's profile and see how far this person is living away from the actual job location. And then we use a second one where we say like, hey, check based on the job description. So based on this one, check if this person is valid. Oh, I see this one is even in Dutch. See if this person, based on his LinkedIn profile and based on the job description, see if this person fits the actual role. So this is one way how you can do that inside Clay, where I quickly show that now to you. And then obviously afterwards, you can directly add these people back to your sequences in LinkedIn and, for example, on the emails as well, where it's all an automated way that you'll be reaching out to all of these people. Another way, what I showed a couple of times on my LinkedIn over the past few weeks, has been the different agents. So this is a software called N8N, where you can build different agents, and agents work actually really well. They can perform different tasks, and you can fully train them and fully specify them how do you want them to work. And I'll just quickly give a short introduction of what this one, for example, can do, which is a voice agent. Hey, Jarvis. Hey, I just wanted to know, what are you able to do? All right, that's perfect. Thank you for that. So basically, this is an agent that is all having sub workflows over here that can do the following, as you just heard, that I have configured towards like a CRM that is working with all different APIs. So if you have a CRM that works, that is able to work with different API access, then you'll be able to link this with an agent that, for example, you can do a lot of stuff with your voice, or you can type it and say like, hey, can you reach out to this candidate, or can you change the status over here in the CRM. And this is, for example, like real helpful when you're on the road, or you're just getting back into your car and you came from a client and you say like, hey, can you draw up a job description, for example, because I just came from a client and he's actually hiring a front-end developer with this and this, for example. All right. This is just what I wanted to show. I hope it's not too much for this. Let's go back to this presentation, where I basically just want to iterate what I think is the most important thing now is the job changes triggers. So, and the news, like the triggers in general, sorry. where you as a company, as a recruitment company, can load in this list of 200 or 500 companies, and directly when something is actually happening in the market, you can directly get notified. Then this data will be enriched, like I've showed you with the waterfall, and a personalization is being drafted. And then after, you can send it directly off in one of these tools that will send a message either on email, on LinkedIn, or on WhatsApp, for example, where you directly reach out to these clients or to candidates, in a personalized way, because you can fully optimize all of this. So we've just seen that, and I have spoken about this because, obviously, in the multi-channel way, I feel this works really, really well, because back in the days when I was in recruitment, I would just call people, and then when they don't pick up, I would just get on with other things. I would forget about that I would have to call that person back, because there's so many other things on your mind. And now you just put these persons inside these outreach campaigns, and they will keep following up day after day on different channels with your candidates and with your clients. So you have more actually touch points with your candidates and clients, so more ways that they would come back to you and want to have a conversation with you. And this is how we've seen for a lot of agencies get the reply rates up. So first they would only reach out on one platform, and then after they have implemented this, the reply rates and the amount of candidates that came back to them actually grew extensively, because they saw like, hey, there is actually multiple touch points with these clients and candidates without being spammy, obviously, because we still personalized all of this with the help of AI. So I want to iterate one more time that you don't have to be technical to implement all of this, but it is needed to get a good blueprint and to get some expert guidance to do all of that. So I help recruitment agencies to implement this within an implementation, a done with you implementation that is 8 weeks. And during that 8 weeks, we go through all these different stages to implement these systems into the agency, which will get me to the third mindset shift that I often see happening in the market as well. Is I think that my team will resist this, because they think that this will replace them, that they don't have to do the actual calling themselves again. But this is actually not true, because most of the agencies that have implemented this, they're actually really happy, because they are able to reach out to more candidates, to reach out to more clients, and also at the right time, which will result into more qualified conversations, which eventually will result in more candidates placed, which is obviously very, very great. So the one objection that that they have is what I actually just spoke about, they just that they don't, this will just eliminate the work that they kind of like hate, which is the admin, the data entry, the scheduling, and all the other work that can get automated, where they will be put back into a spot where they can do the actual tasks, where what they really like and where they're actually good at is as well. So I want to be super clear in that sense about like what the AI does and what the team does. So all the sourcing and list building can, like a lot of the sourcing can be done, but you can also obviously keep that you keep doing that yourself. But the data enrichment, following up, scheduling, CRM updates, which I will touch upon shortly, that can all be automated by AI. And the recruiters within the company would just mainly focus on the negotiations and actually seeing the clients and having that, uh, yeah, really candidate relationships, and doing all the fun parts of of the business, and not really the boring stuff or the admin stuff. And the way that how I do this with different companies is I implement this whole system in 8 weeks. So every week there will be a new system built within the organization. So in the first 2 weeks, we kind of look at the sales architecture. We set up some email addresses so you can do the cold the cold outreach with mailboxes. And then in the weeks after, we really set up that signal-based, account-based marketing. Is it actually called? Where we will gather a list from your 3, 4, 500 targeted accounts that you want to work together with, that you want to source for, and then we set up these different signal-based triggers. And then in the weeks after, we implement the candidate system, where we can do all the AI matching and scoring, candidate sequences, following up automations that will really save a lot of the admin work for the recruiters. And then in the last few weeks, there is the content engine and the CRM enrichment. And that is the thing that I want to speak about next. Because when I was in recruitment, I remember that I would fill in data manually inside the CRM from all different sources. But then a couple of years later, when you kind of like look back into your CRM and you see like, hey, let's call this person, then that person might not have that number anymore, that might not work at this company anymore, because all this data that is sitting inside your CRM is super, super outdated. I see that in almost all recruitment companies. If you do have a very updated CRM, then that's fantastic. But most of them are really old. So what you can do is set up this flow where every so many months you run your job titles, you run all your contacts through Clay with an API, and then it basically updates your CRM system, and it will get the current job titles, their verified new email addresses and phone numbers, and their LinkedIn, and any other signals from their company that they are currently with, for example. So you can reach back out to this person, kind of saying like, hey, I saw, like in the past we've spoken, then you were working at HP. I saw you working at Dell Computers now. Let's get back in touch and see if we can help each other. So this is a really valuable way in order to clean up all the data in your database, in your CRM. So I quickly want to touch upon the results, to what agencies see when they implement all of these systems. So they see an increase in client and candidate engagement rates. They see a reduction in the time to hire and time to placement. And they see that they save their recruiters a lot of time as well, without having to actually scale and needing to hire more recruiters to actually grow. You can obviously hire more recruiters, but if you can streamline all these processes, there's much more that you can do with your current headcount instead of like only growing with hiring people. So in that regard, the transformation timeline that I would normally get people through is the following: is in those 60 days, you have all the systems, all the 4 systems that we spoke about, all live, and it will save your team and your recruiters many hours a week, sorry, and you'll be able to scale through without actually having to hire more and more recruiters. All right. So in the past 45 to 60 minutes, you have seen the difference between all the manual systems where agency A only grows by grinding harder and hiring more people, and all these system-driven agencies. And you watched me to go through a couple of these workflows on the screen. You saw the 4-pillar framework that is really driving the future of agencies. And and you saw that this could really help your recruiters instead of like replacing them. So I really hope that this that you found this time well spent. Obviously I cannot cover all of this as well in 60 minutes. Like there's so many workflows, there's so many things that I could go into, but I hope that I was at least able to inspire a little bit within these minutes to actually give you the possibilities of what is possible. And that will also bring me to the next part, where I want to invite you, if that is something for you, to implement these systems within your agency. And like I've said, we do that during an 8-week done with you implementation, where we'll be going through, and every week we'll be implementing a new system inside your agency in order to build upon the other system. And that will really work together instead of be separate tools that you stop using after a few months. Then you'll be able to get the complete workflow library, all the different workflows that I've built and also collected, that you can directly implement into your agency. We'll be building some custom GPTs and some AI related resources in that regard for your agency to really start working and putting out your brand voice as well into in a persistent way. During this 8 weeks, every week there will be office hours where we obviously implement these workflows, and you might have any questions or any other related stuff. So you'll be able to ask questions during these office hours. You'll be getting access to the private school community, and from every live build every week there will be recordings and bonuses. One of the bonuses is also Prospectmonitor, which is a software that I have developed together with my friend. Well, he did most of it, actually. I was there just mainly for the mental support, I think. But with the Prospectmonitor software, you can directly fill in a job description, and then automatically every day you get an email saying like, hey, here they're hiring for that job description. And you'll be able to get the hiring managers or the person that is hiring, the contact details, if we're able to find that as well in the same flow. So that will really help you to get that data instead of like having to manually go through LinkedIn every day and see who is hiring at that stage. So all of this has a very high value, and this is the first time that I actually doing this cohort. So that's why I'm discounting it for these 8 weeks to build all of these systems into your agency for for half of the price only for this time, and which is a price of 2,500 for the 8 weeks and everything. And all of this will already be covered with one additional placement. So only one additional placement that you and your recruiters will make within the business are able to cover this whole 8 week implementation with all these different systems for your recruitment agency. So it's basically zero kind of risk in that sense, because if you don't see any of the like system changes that save you time and bring you more effort, then we'll keep working with you to see when this actually does make a difference. But the actual real risk is to do nothing, because more and more recruitment agencies start to explore these kind of options where your competitors are start to systemize and really explore AI and automation and all of these tools. So the real risk is in waiting or to find out everything on your own, because it took me months and months and months to get the knowledge of Clay, to get the knowledge of N8N, to really know how to combine everything with APIs, to link that to CRM systems. And obviously you can also try to figure that out, but it will take you quite a few months in order to get all of that information out. And your competitors will be going faster in that sense. But I quickly want to touch upon why this is different than a lot of things that you see out there as well. I see a lot of people sell courses. I'm not particularly super passionate about courses, because I feel that you would really have to learn something from it. Like I don't want to sell a course and then say like, hey, you watch it and then you don't do anything with it. I want this to be implemented in the recruitment agencies, that it will make sense for the actual recruiters, and that they will keep using the system in order to like really make a benefit for them, and not a course where they go through and then don't do anything with it. So every session ends with a system built inside of your business. You will learn the systems. So it also sticks, because if I just give you the system, say like, oh, there you go, good luck with it, like a consultant, for example, then you might think like, oh, okay, well, thanks for that. And how are we actually implementing that? How are we using it? We don't get it. Or so I don't want that to happen as well. You need to be able to understand it, to work together with it, to test it, and then directly be able to ask any questions or any feedback, for example, so we can iterate and build it in the best possible way for your recruitment agencies, so you can keep building it and better and better and better, and really starting to put that architecture in place. All right. So this is my invitation to join me during the 8-week Done With You program, where we build every week upon the last week, and where everything will be recorded. The start date is the 4th of March. And when you join, you directly get access to all the onboarding materials. And in the first week, every Wednesday, we will meet and we'll have the conversation. But if you cannot make it, these also will be recorded. And in that sense, you'll be able to watch it later on as well. All right. So why would you join this cohort now? And I'm looking at the time and I want to be mindful of the time as well. We're almost towards the end, where we'll be answering any of your questions that you might have. But why now? So this is the first time I'm running a cohort for this, and like the first time that I'm running this now, the investment will be 2,500. After this cohort will be going up to 5,000. For this cohort, I'll be able to only get in 8 agencies, because I want to make sure that the time and effort that I have will be given fully towards the agencies that really want to implement this inside the agency, instead of like that I take on many more agencies, and that then the time and effort, the quality won't be able to get measured. So the cohort starts the 4th of March. If you miss it, then you might have to wait quite a few months before we are opening back up. And your competition is not waiting; they're jumping on different opportunities to systemize all of these systems. So if you would wait, it won't really solve the problem, because your competition will be going and systemizing all of this faster and faster. And in this time where more and more things can be automated, the agencies that will adjust the quickest, I believe, are the ones that will be getting the biggest piece of the pie. So, but maybe even if this isn't for you or for your agency, that is all fine, of course. But I don't want you to leave with any without any value. I want to make sure that this session is actually valuable. In that case, I would love to say to you to do the following things on a Monday morning, to really be mindful of this, to think about it, and to map out the processes that you currently have, from the moment you get a client to job intake to a placement, and then see which processes are done by a human, and then really look at it as well, like, hey, what would be the biggest time wasters? Are we actually manually putting in a lot of time and effort inside our CRM, putting in different admin, or where does most of the recruiters spend their time getting all these things done? And as last thing as well, to think about on the Monday morning, is think about which are the tools, because this is something that I've seen quite a lot lately, is recruitment agencies have a lot of different tools, and then they sometimes not even using them. So they pay hundreds of euros or dollars, and then they are not even fully using this tool. So see what are the things that you use, and what are the things that you are not using. And do you actually have this set up in a system, instead of like just separated tools that don't work together, that is not a system? So that's something that I wanted to for you to potentially think about, that might help. So I want to say once more, stop scaling the chaos and start building systems. Go to the website here, or you can scan the QR code in that sense, and over there you'll be able to join the program that is start on the 4th of March. And yeah, I'll love to see you there. And then I am going to the Q&A, and if you have any questions in regards to this session, then I would love to answer these. I have also will drop inside the comments now. I'll drop in. Let's see, for everybody that was here during the session, I'll drop in the workflows that you can directly start working with. And so you can directly implement some of these already inside your agency. And these workflows that I will send the link here are the ones that agencies use to directly see if key talent has left the company, then find the hiring manager from that company and say, hey, I saw key talent has left your company. Let's see if we can help you to replace that person. And then to get this message out there before this company will put this job post online. So you're reaching out before the market is able to respond, because before the job post is online. All right, I'll be posting this inside the chat, so you guys have access to all the resources. And then I really want to thank you very much for spending time with me today. And yeah, the agencies that are building systems today will outperform the ones that are keep hustling tomorrow. So thanks again, and would love to see you in the program. And if there's any questions, let me know. And I'll be dropping this link in the chat soon. And have a great day.